For years, people have been told you can retire in Asia for a few $100s a month. And the truth is, that used to be possible. I've seen it by myself. In 2010, I moved to China. China was really cheap that days. But can you imagine? The expats in that days already complain about the rise of cost in China. I'm active in Asia over 30 years. I have seen the changes in Asia and I'm not dreaming anymore. I adapted and accept the reality. I've been in Asia over 30 years, not as a tourist, not as someone who just arrived last year making videos about cheap living. I've watched entire cities transform. I've seen prices change slowly, not at once. It's dangerous here, you have to be careful. And recently, I've been getting the same comments over and over again. Is it still possible to retire here on a long term? So in this video, I want to show you something most people don't talk about. Not the dream, but what happens after 10, 20 or 30 years. I don't predict, but tell you my experience over the last 30 years. Back in the 90s and even early 2000s, the equation was simple. Low rent, cheap food, a simple lifestyle. You didn't need much. These $300 a month could go a long way in some places. And the appeal was obvious. Escape the high cost of the West. Live a slower life. Stretch your money. And to be fair, that wasn't a lie. That was reality for a certain time. Can I get a copy?
Copy?
Copy, not too sweet.
Not too sweet.
We have Thai Tien.
Coffee for one.
Yeah. 可以是，美式可是不是要太甜的。But there's what changed, and most people didn't notice it happening. It wasn't just inflation, it was expectations. Cities modernized, standards improved, conveniences became normal, and slowly what used to be optional became essential. Air conditioning, reliable internet, private healthcare, comfort. So yes, technically, you can still live very cheap, but there's the catch. You can live cheap, but you can't age cheap. This is where things start to break down. When you're younger, you can take risk. You can self-insure. You can live simply. You can adapt. But as you get older, the margin for errors disappears. Healthcare becomes the biggest variable. Insurance gets expensive or even unavailable. Pre-existing conditions complicate everything. And suddenly, one hospital visit isn't an inconvenience, it's a financial event. Thank you.
谢谢。
不用谢，谢谢你。This is the part that's missing from most retire in Asia videos. They talk about monthly costs, but they don't talk about what happens when something goes wrong, because that's where the real cost is. One of the best ways I've seen this described come from a viewer. They said, living here long term feels like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you are slowing down. And that is exactly how it is. Costs go up, inflation keeps moving, but at the same time, your earning flexibility goes down, your energy decreases, your ability to adapt shrinks. At 40, you can adjust. At 70, you absorb. And there's another layer people underestimate. It's not just the cost, it's the complexity. Years ago, staying long term was relative, simply. But now, more paperwork, financial requirements, renewals, uncertainty. And it's not just the money, it's the mental load. You're constantly managing your right to stay. That's at a kind of pressure that people don't factor when they're planning a retirement in Asia. You often hear, just live like a local. Yes, that can work to a point. But locals have something most expats don't: family support, cultural systems, and different safety net. They are not relying on the same structures you are. So while you can lower your cost that way, it doesn't solve the long-term problems, especially when you need change. Now, this doesn't mean Asia doesn't work anymore. It does, but the equation has changed. If you're planning long term, you need a realistic monthly budget, a buffer, not just living, but for the problems. A plan for healthcare and flexibility. For people today, the baseline is closer to $1,500 to $2,000 a month, not 300. And that's the difference between surviving and being secured. Asia didn't change overnight, it changed slowly. And most people didn't notice it until the numbers stopped working. So if you are thinking about retiring here, don't just ask, how cheap is it? Ask yourself, how does this hold up over time? Because in the beginning, yeah, it works, but what matters is what happens later. If you've been here a long time or you're planning to come, I'd be interested to hear your experience. Have you felt this shift? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.